Welcome to RadioBuzz.com and On the Road with MattyRocks, on location at the Myth Nightclub in Maplewood, Minnesota, joined by special guest, lead frontman Richard Patrick from Filter.
How's it going, everybody?
Thanks for joining me today. I appreciate it. You guys are currently on tour with Bush and Chevelle. Looks like about a 30-plus leg tour. You're currently 6 shows in. How's the tour going so far?
The tour's amazing. I mean, it's like a love fest in the parking lot every day, because I've known the Chevelle guys for I want to say probably 12 years.
Nice.
They had just finished their first record, or they had done a record, and they wanted to do another record with Ben Gross mixing it, I think. And we just somehow knew each other, and then we took them on the road during the Title of Record tour. And so we've known them. Plus, I've known Gavin and Gwen for I don't even know, probably 15 years. And we've just always been extremely polite with each other and nice. And so we're bringing all of that on the road, and they're being incredibly supportive of us, and it's really great. The Bush fans that come and the Chevelle fans are like, I finally get to see Filter. And even though it's 30 minutes, it's an action-packed kind of, 30 minutes. And it reminds everybody that we love doing what we do, and come and check us out. When we come back in a year after we put a new record out or something. It'll
Right.
It's just great to get in front of the the way bigger audiences. Not that we're complaining about our own audience. It's just good to be on a nice big package like this.
It's a great combination of bands.
Yeah,
great combination. Since you've been the longtime member of the band, take Radio Buzz listeners back to the early days of 1993 when the project first was constructed in Cleveland, Ohio.
Wow, I was working with a little 8-track and a little Mac, and had a couple friends engineering stuff and kind of helping out. And I just remember this one song that we kept kind of messing with, this song called Hey Man, Nice Shot. And it was really loud. There was a lot of stuff going on in the verses, and it was just too much. And I remember hitting mute on all the guitars for the verse and the pre-chorus, and then having the guitars just come in for the chorus, the big riff guitars. And all of a sudden it became really super obvious. And then when I started writing lyrics, I was like, I picked up this on Lollapalooza. There was a little bookstore that had a booth, and the bookstore was called Amok Books. And there was this video that you could get, and there was a video of just all sorts of weird stuff, clips of all kinds of just bizarre things. And there was some footage, some raw footage of our Bud Dwyer killing himself.
Right.
And so I wasn't, being 22, 23, I wasn't really worldly enough to really kind of talk about love, or, I don't know how Justin Bieber can talk about love, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And be authentic. So I'm because I come from a world of, you better fucking write what you know
Right.
know what I mean? So all I knew is that was a very disturbing, video. And I remember feeling like I wished I would have at least met him. What? At what point do you give up and kill yourself? And
Right.
suicide has always been, I've always it's always been in my mind, having gone through all the things my alcoholism and everything, there's always this little thing that says kill yourself, and so I don't know.
Did you know of Bud Dwyer? Did you know about him?
I knew that he was the guy that killed himself, and then I remember studying it a little bit in social studies in 1987 when he did it. And then I had I don't know, it was just one of those phenomenons, and I actually met someone that was, I gotta find his number. But I met someone that was right there for a local radio station, and I want to talk to him about it. But so I know someone at the press conference.
Okay.
And I got to talk to that guy. But it was a very fascinating thing. I know they're doing a documentary on him. The song isn't necessarily all about Bud Dwyer. It's about the phenomenon of killing yourself and suicide. Right. So, there's a lot of that going on these days. Suicides are up. People are losing everything, and they've lost everything. With crime is white collar crime. There's all kinds of shit out there that So people get just desperate, and I find it fascinating, because when do you make the decision? All right, I'm going to leap.
Exactly. That was a hit single for you guys. There was a lot of controversy around that song.
Yeah.
In that video.
Yeah. Well, the video actually was pretty much just a straightforward video. I think the controversy there was the fact that I wore the Diplomat Sears glasses. Okay. And I had a shaved head and those glasses on. It was just such a bold look. Like James Eha was like, man, that's really bold. I mean, to pull off the fucking nerd glasses, but when the song came out, I wrote it like in the early 90s or something, and then when the song came out, it was like 95. So Kurt Cobain had killed himself, and everyone just thought I'm writing about Kurt Cobain. And I even had to it was like, show me your birth certificate. I had to find when it was copywritten and everything, and kind of and kind of say like, hey, you're all liars. I did not write it. I wrote it in the early 90s before he was way alive.
Right.
They were just doing like In Utero and touring like that. And I already had that. Actually, they were touring In Utero, and I was already back in Cleveland with my record deal because of Hey Man, Nice Shot. Okay. Somewhere around there, they were already still doing that. So.
Okay. I understand that Rob Patterson is not joining you guys on this tour. Is he going to be coming back?
We only have a little bit of touring left for the year, and I think, Rob's in a place where I think it's probably better for him to just concentrate on writing, because I love him as a writer. Right. So I don't necessarily think that Rob's going to probably want to come out. It's still speculation. But, Johnny's here, and I just want Rob to be healthy, so it's one of those things. I love him tremendously, and I can't really comment too much further, but it's probably better for him if
Right. Where'd you guys drum up Johnny?
Well, now Johnny was, I was reminded of Johnny by Jack, our tour manager, Jack Suarez. And I went, Johnny, and I just thought to myself, kill Hannah, maybe that's not the right fit, and then I called him up and I said, we're in a pickle. And I've known Johnny for 12 years. We used to party together back in the day. I used to, he was a 20-year-old and I was like 32. Like, I'll tell you about life, kid. And but Johnny, I'm like, Johnny, we're in a pickle. We're going on tour in a week, and we only have 2 rehearsals, and there's about 3 or 4 days. We could probably rehearse at Phil's house, because Phil has a studio and everything. And I go, pretty big thing. You got to learn about 18 songs, and he goes, oh, I've already got them already. I've already learned the 3 that they told me about. Do you want me to learn anything else? And I'm like, well, you might as well start learning everything. Because, I said, can you meet me at Phil's house in 3 hours? I said, yes. I said, okay, I'll see you there. He had No Love and obviously Hey Man and Take a Picture completely done like the way that they were written on the record. And because most everybody likes to put, their own spin on it, but he was faithful to that. And then he put a spin on it after I asked him hey, what would you do if I could have done this, I would have done that. What would you do? And all of a sudden this explosion of talent and creativity came out, after the parts were learned, he's been adding things as we go along. So he's all of a sudden this just insanely amazing guitar player. And
sounds like a really good partnership between you guys.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, I want to make as many records and do as much music as I possibly can for the rest of my life. So by working with Johnny, by working with Mitch, by working with Rob, and by working with Phil, and having several songs going on at the same time, right, I could probably write and co-write, a lot of music and have it record ready, like ready to go, right, for a lot of different projects. Because honestly, Filter, there's even two sides to Filter that people literally at the shows are like, I thought this was the Take a Picture band, and then like the punk kids are like, no, this is the Hey Man Nice Shot band, and
right,
and you know what I mean? Like, they realize, like, I can't believe these guys did, you can read the comments on, like, YouTube, yeah, saying, like, I can't believe this is the same band that wrote Hey Man Nice Shot. Like, what a departure. And it's like, I feel like I should write a record called Gurney, which is the Short Bus sequel, and then there's going to be another record which is just Lush stuff called, like, just working titles, called Burning the Books. And then there's like another record that I want to do, which is all speed metal and super heavy, and just announce that later. And have several different projects that I'm constantly milking and massaging to make them fucking,
right,
do what they need to do for me creatively.
Right. And
the other thing that's really kind of freaking me out is that I actually started taking my ADD medicine. Because it turns out I'm hyperactive and I have attention deficit for real, not like a joke, like for real. And I wrote a movie, and I want to get a movie made, and I want to start doing things like, just there's so much creativity, and music is a huge part, but it's also got to be. I have so many things I want to do that, like, so it's. I have a lot of music. I have a lot of partnerships that I'm building up. There's so many different things that the people I'm working with are all working on. Polar Moon, which is Johnny's, own solo stuff, is amazing. And I'd even like to go make a synthesizer band with my drummer. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Right. It sounds like you got a lot of ideas in the head there, and a lot of things that I think a lot of people would look forward to hearing. Do you take a risk when you dabble in these different areas with your fans?
I have found that the fans, like, we sign autographs after every show. Like,
that's great.
I'll get together with the fans after every show and I'll go, come on over here, and I'll sign whatever you got or whatever. And everybody's like, just keep doing what you're doing, man. Keep doing what you're doing. And I'm like, okay. I take that as I'll do everything I can.
And that they love it.
Yeah.
And they want to support you guys.
Yeah, and they're like, we're getting the shirt, but we want you to make more music, as much music as we can, as you can. And I'm like, okay, I have that, and I want to. Yep.
Keep doing it because we love it.
Good.
Currently, you guys have 5 studio albums.
Yeah.
Out of all those 5, which one do you hold the closest, the most dearest, the special project that stands out? Of all 5 of those, which one is that to you?
I really, really, really dig The Trouble with Angels, and I'm not just saying that because it's the latest one. Obviously, title of record was I was in an extremely tumultuous time in my life, but like everything I did was really passionate, and I love Short Bus because it's so innocent and angry and pissed, and we just didn't have any idea what we were doing. I mean, I had joined Trent's live band and I'd only worked on 8-track demos, and I'd never been in a studio, and I didn't want to go in the fucking studio, and so I learned totally the absolute backwards way of making a rock record with Brian Leesgang, and we were going outside of the box on purpose as a finger to the way it's supposed to be done.
Right.
and I'm using quotations around that. And the reality is that was a really great way to kind of like just win, just win. Just I put that fucking shit out and it went platinum. Fuck you. We used a drum machine in the middle of the grunge era. We used a fucking drum machine to make our fucking shit work. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we were like, we weren't even aware of how fucking punk that was. We just didn't know any drummers. We like, you know what I mean? It was
right.
So
what was it like to work with Trent Reznor?
I'll tell you, Trent's a complicated man. Him and I were both drinking like fish. But obviously he's a super fucking talented guy, and
he just wins an award recently.
Yeah, the Oscar. Yep. I think he is talented.
Yep.
I think I actually, there's so many fun, now that we've kind of grown up and we're both in our 40s, and I have kids and he has a kid, and I think that I look back on the whole thing fondly. I really do. We had so much fun. There was a lot of like, I didn't know how to tell him, like, hey man, I want to leave. I think I'm gonna, I don't know, I want to leave and write my own stuff and kind of be my own thing. And I never really had that ability to communicate with him on that level. Like, it was just always so.
Right.
It seems the conversations always seemed so pointed towards total, totally giving yourself to a project, and kind of realizing that, like, well, Atlantic Records just offered me $500,000 and to do a record, and or Warner Brothers, they just asked me to like sign a deal with them, and they seem like really good people too, and I never really had that ability to talk to them like that. And it was just two young kids, in a world where everybody's trying to be happy.
Right.
And so I look back on the touring. I mean, we were in a van for like 7 months, touring, and we just made it work. And then we got a bus, and like it was so much fun. There's so much drinking, and it was when drinking worked in our lives. Right. And what that means is it was actually just fun and innocent. And there was a lot of drugs, and there was a lot of, and it was just innocent young people making extremely fun, fucking pissed off music and living it. I mean, living it.
And here you are today.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think of all those things fondly, and I think of everything that I did with Nine Inch Nails fun. And to be honest with you, I never really admitted to anybody, because I was kind of shocked that Trent wrote the song Piggy, but my nickname was Piggy, and affectionately, I was Piggy for the 4 years that I was in the band. And I was proud of that little character, that person that walked on that stage and just had no idea what was going to happen, but something was going to happen, and there might be a boot print on my arm, I might have an injury, I might be bleeding, I might have a security guard come and kick my ass after the show, there might be a bottle thrown at me, and that's okay. Right. We were okay with that.
Right.
I enjoyed being Piggy. I enjoyed the chaos that we created on the first Lollapalooza. I mean, hanging out with Perry Farrell and watching him and Eric and Dave, my buddies, that I couldn't believe that I was actually buddies with these guys, and they're up there playing 3 days, and I'm 25, and I had a pack of cigarettes, and I'd go in between the stage and the audience, the moat there, that little security thing, and I'd pay the two security guards, because they're just local guys.
Right.
I'd pay the two security guards like $40 and go, I'm sitting right here, protect me, don't let anyone come over here and hit and like attack me. And they're like, okay. And I'd have a 6-pack and a pack of cigarettes, and I just watched the whole Jane's Addiction show, and I watched 21 Jane's Addiction shows in a row like that, where there were thousands. The first show, Phoenix, there was 80,000 people behind me. Wait a minute, 18,000 people.
That's like a sea of people.
It was just a sea of humanity, and everyone was just completely in love with it and having a great time. And those are the memories that I hang on to. And so,
right. Where does the inspiration, the ideas come to make your music? Where's it come from?
The inspiration is just everywhere in my life now. I mean, it is just overflowing. I mean, I can sit down and write lyrics. If you give me a bed of music, and if I write a bed of music and I sit there and I go through everything, and it's just, I can go very abstract, or I can just tell a story. I wrote like a small story called what's that name of that song on the newest record? There's a song that's Going Down or something like that, Going Down With Me, and it's a short story about a guy who of the description of a crime scene, and they read a note, and it's from a lover that says, "If I can't have her, no one will," and that he killed the whole family, right. and the lady, and it's just, using my imagination for stuff beyond just what's going on in my life. But my life actually has been so tumultuous in the last 2 years that I've got just, I mean, if I say I'm hurt, I literally am in pain. Right. I've never gone through something so hard as the last 2 years of my life, and it's been a tough couple of years. Right. So my honesty is there. Right. You know what I mean? Right.
You mentioned a song earlier, "Hey Man, Take a Picture." Is that the yeah?
It's "Hey Man, Nice Shot."
"Hey Man, Nice Shot."
And the other song is called "Take a Picture."
Take a Picture.
Yeah.
What's the story behind that song?
Well, it was the R. Bud Dwyer.
No, the
Take a Picture.
Yes.
Take a Picture is about dreaming, and those lucid dreams you have where you're dreaming and you think everything's absolutely wonderful, and you're waking up and you're realizing that you're not in your bed.
Right.
And you're actually on an airplane, and you've got a blanket on, and your clothes aren't on. And it's 10 in the morning, and your head's pounding, and the guy sitting next to you is an absolute horror and has been poking you with a butter knife, and you look over and there's Brian Leesgang, and he's looking at you like, what the fuck is going on with you? And it's about like, oh my God, where was that moment? Right. Where I was totally in euphoria to waking up, and it's a veritable nightmare, but in a wake you wake up and you're in a lot of trouble. And that's when I really started blacking out. Blackout alcoholism is a very interesting phenomenon, and it's kind of where that came from.
Right on. You guys have the Shiprock tour coming up.
Yeah,
that's got to be pretty cool.
I
want to go. I want to go on that thing.
I've never been on a boat that big and done it, so I figured I would do it. And I think I'm just gonna play all of Short Bus. I don't know. I might just play the whole Short Bus record, or maybe not. I don't know. I feel like that's kind of like just a party, and like I'm just there to have fun. Right. And I think the fans are great, and a lot of our fans are a lot of our really super tight fans are going. And
right. So that's your first time doing that?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Quite an experience.
Yeah. So fun. I'm excited. Go snorkeling down there in Costa Rica and whatever it is.
There you go. What's the future hold for you guys?
I mean, I just want to keep everything going. Just keep all the balls rolling. I mean, I do a lot of work in film. I write a lot of music for soundtracks. I just love my job. I love being a musician, and
yeah, I was gonna say a lot of your songs end up in either movies, soundtracks, or television shows.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I have a real good track record with that, and I love playing live. You'll see that tonight.
Right.
We're only on for like a half an hour, but it's gonna be awesome.
It's going to be a great half hour.
Yeah.
Let Radio Buzz listeners know where can they keep up with you guys, and more importantly, the music.
Well, they can always check us out on any one of the main sites: Facebook, officialfilter.com, MySpace. We're right there. If you hit Filter Band or Filter Music, you can find us when you hit Google. The music's completely available on iTunes, but I actually recommend that you buy our new record because there's a whole beautiful packaging thing that comes with it. And it's with every single CD. It's not just the bonus CDs. The bonus CD came with another disc, but it's exactly the same, amount of artwork. So I recommend everybody find a copy of that and get it the old-fashioned way. Plus, they sound better.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, you can find Filter anywhere you want. We're there.
Right on. Thank you very much for the interview. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
Great interview,
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me on the Buzz.
You've heard it here, Radio Buzz listeners, on the road with MattyRocks with Richard.